Okay, we'll call the meeting today, June the 1st, 2026, to order. I'd like to welcome everybody for being here today, and especially Lake Silver. He's with us today from the North Carolina State Auditor's Office. He walked in and said, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." So what's that, the most feared words in the world or whatever? But Madam Clerk, all the commissioners are here except for Mr. Britton. We got our attorney, the county manager, also here. I'll remind all speakers when you come up to activate the microphone so the folks on YouTube can hear you, and some of us older folks too. And if you haven't already, please silence your mobile devices, and we'll get on with our agenda here. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All in favor? That's 4-0, Madam Clerk. And we'll now move on to our presentations. And on number 3 there, and I'm going to ask you to be very brief with your presentations today because you're going to be going into a lot of detail in a couple of weeks. So today, just give us the Reader's Digest version. Start out with our Sheriff, Banks Heinzman.
Yes, sir, gentlemen, Madam Clerk. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you today. On the next meeting, we will be presenting 4 individuals: Director Brian Christie of Western Piedmont Community College, Deputy John McKinney, which is a Sheriff's Office employee, Trooper Ben Phillips, and Public Safety Officer Justin Walker, the Life Saving Award for actions and life-saving measures that they use to save one of our recruits who is currently in that program. So we will be awarding those life-saving awards that night.
Thank you, Sheriff. Without any objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Our next report will come from Wes Taylor, Chief of the Burke County Rescue, giving us an annual update.
Yep, just in time. Thank you all for having me. Next meeting, we're just planning on giving you a brief overview of our year 2025, some of the highlights, some of our responses, and just to go over some of our recent accomplishments and also where we can use some help. So, any other questions for me?
Thank you, sir.
You asked for brief. We got it.
That's it. Without objection, this will remain on the agenda. And we'll hear from the Lake James Litter Cleanup Report from Howard Morgan. Is Mr. Morgan here with us today?
Mr. Morgan is not here today, but Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, Mr. Morgan from the Lake James Area Wildlife and Nature Society will be present on June 15th to provide the annual update presentation for the Lake James cleanup.
Thank you, ma'am. Without objection, this will remain on the agenda. Anybody object to that? Okay, we'll next move on to the county manager with recognition for the 2026 Spring Citizens Academy.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Smith. We've invited the graduates of our second round of our Citizens Academy to come join the Board of Commissioners and receive recognition at your June 15th meeting. It'll also give them an opportunity to see the budget process, public hearing completion. And so we'll be prepared to acknowledge those folks as well as get some feedback and provide you some feedback that they've given us following their completion. Happy to answer any questions you may have on this item.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. We'll next move to our scheduled public hearings. Patrick Dickinson will talk to us about 2524 Branch Drive, Valdez, North Carolina zoning map amendment and public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it, Madam Clerk. We are going to be presenting ZMA 2026 at the regular meeting. I'm not sure if y'all have had time to look over that packet yet. This is a pretty simple rezoning. The couple is looking to move from residential 1 to residential 2. Do y'all have any questions for me at this time?
Thank you, sir. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. We'll next hear again from our county manager about adoption of the fiscal year 26-27 budget and public hearing.
Yes, sir. At your May meeting, we presented the recommended budget for fiscal year 26-27. I will not represent the entire budget, as I know that was a marathon in May, but I would remind you that it has been out for public inspection. It's on our website. It's been, several areas, library, our senior center. And I'll give a short overview of the highlights. And then we'll have to hold a public hearing as statutorily required, and then ask the county commissioners to consider approving that, that budget as, we're required to annually per statute.
Thank you, sir. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. We next move to agenda item number 5, USDA Beaver Management Assistance Program update from Chris Willis, and we will go through the presentations here.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So you guys at Burke County has been in here in the BMAP for 2 years, $6,000 participation fee. North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission puts in $385,000. Divide that by the number of participating counties, which we expect to be 58, 59 this year. So on top of the $6,000 you guys put in, North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission puts in the $6,600. So you're getting $12,600 for services rendered. Okay. The initial consultation fee, if a landowner calls us, what we do is sometimes they don't want the beaver removed. They want to learn how to live with them. So we'll talk about exclusion devices. We will give them options of how to trap. We'll teach them to trap, tell them the regulations on it. If they decide they want our services, it's $25 per visit to remove the beaver. And any large dam that takes over 30 minutes to rake out is $150. We also use explosives. In case we need it. Josh Johnson is our trapper in the county here, so we brought him along today to kind of show him this. Burke County is averaging about 6 visits to complete any work needed. We do use a first come, first served basis, but Department of Transportation, of course, takes priority with road flooding. Prior to Hurricane Helene, before Burke County came in, Josh completed 15 DOT jobs in the county. And then once Hurricane Helene, we seen a lot of them just not building the dams back or moving them downstream and just kind of adjusting. So, and it takes about 30 days right now from the time he's called till the job's finished. He has completed 4 jobs this year with 17 visits. Resources saved is about $11,300, and that's cornfields, ponds, or standing timber. He's currently monitoring 5 private jobs and 3 DOT sites. We do know of 8 sites that were destroyed by Hurricane Helene. And like I say, it is slower anywhere east of or west of 77, but we're starting to see that build back again. So McDowell County's picked up, Rutherford County's coming in this year. We're starting to see the increase come back to where it was pre-Helene levels. So the next one is just one of our explosives. We use a binary explosive, very safe. And then if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your report there. We'll next have a presentation from Sarah Evan on the approval of the HCC BG block grant for fiscal year 27.
Mr. Vice Chairman, will that remain on consent?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will remain on the consent agenda. And that was item number 1 we're talking about with the USDA.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here from the Western Piedmont Council of Governments to talk about the FY27 Home and Community Care Block Grant Services for Burke County. The Home and Community Care Block Grant funds come from the Older Americans Act to serve those that are 60 and better in Burke County. You all as commissioners appoint a committee that gives you these recommendations. So today I'm bringing 2 different recommendations. The first is the service providers that provide those services. If it's a for-profit agency, we put those out for bid biannually. This year it was in-home aid and medical transportation. The committee chose to remain with the current service provider for in-home aid, which is Catawba Valley Medical Services. There's no compliance issues service as well. They did not rebid for medical transportation this fiscal year, but Greenway Transportation did. They already are funded to provide general transportation in Burke County, so they're just adding the medical piece on. Any questions about the provider piece? Okay. Moving on to the funding, just a little background and information. There has not been a federal increase in block grant funding since FY '24, where nationwide we got about a $2.37 billion increase, which sounds like a great big number. But North Carolina only got about 1.69 million of that. And as it trickles down to each region, we didn't get too much. But there was a $5,000 increase in FY '24, a little over a $4,000 increase in FY '25, flat funding in FY '26 because of no approved state budget. And then this year, unfortunately, we are looking at a $7,000 decrease for services. So in your budget packet, you see the recommended budgets with the recommended providers. Do you all have any questions? All right, easy peasy.
Thank you. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. And we'll now hear from the clerk, removal from and appointment to the AC and NHC Advisory Committee, presented by the clerk, Morgan Buchanan.
Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, Mr. Roger Hart has resigned due to family obligations, and this is an official request to remove his name from the roster in accordance with his wishes. We are also seeking to appoint Miss Loretta Welcher to the board, who has completed her state-required training on May 22nd, and she is eligible for an initial one-year term ending June 15th, 2027. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Without objection, this item will also remain on the agenda.
Okay.
And the clerk will now talk to us about appointments and appointments to JCPC.
Okay, for Mr. Vice Chairman and the members of the board, there are several seats on this board with terms that are expiring June 30, 2026. As you can see, we have currently received 7 applications from current members who are interested in serving another term. And as of today, no additional applications have been received from individuals seeking appointments to remain on the vacancies. So this is a request to reappoint the 7 members who have reapplied, which have been provided in your packet, and each of them will be appointed for a 2-year term ending June 30 and 2028. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Without objection, this will remain on the agenda. Okay, we will now hear from the clerk concerning the Burke Senior Center Advisory Council appointments.
All right, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, we currently have 3 vacancies on the Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, and we have received 2 applications for people who are interested in serving. So this is a request to appoint Miss Rosalind Rosie O'Haron and Miss Rebecca Poplin to complete the remainder of a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2028. Any questions?
Okay, seeing as there's no questions, this will remain on the agenda. Hold on, Mr. Burns has a question.
So that's 2 applications and there's 3 seats available.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So moving forward, I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So once this goes on consent, we're approving that
Yes.
reappointment. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Without objection, this will remain on the agenda. Okay, we'll now hear from the CPC FPT-2025 Local Child Fatality Prevention Team Annual Report to the Commissioners and the Board of Health, presented by Mr. Brian Barrier, Commissioner, and Dr. Ashley Jarrett, Interim Health Director.
Actually, we're gonna let Ashley go first, and then I'll have some comments after.
Thank you guys for allowing me to do this. This is really important to us who are on the team to give this report out every year. The work we do is really hard. It's not a fun job to review child fatalities in Burke County, but we all take it very personally and give a lot of value to this moment. So I just want to give a brief review of the local review team's annual report for 2025. So this reviews child fatalities of 2024. So we are always 1 year behind. So just to review, the local teams are expected to, 1, conduct child fatality reviews pursuant to general statutes. 2, identify gaps or deficiencies that may exist in order to improve the delivery of services to children and families. 3, make recommendations for changes and carry out changes that could prevent future child fatalities. And 4, educate their communities on how to prevent children dying in their communities. You do have a copy of this report in your packet, but I just want to take time to go over it on a high level so that we give omen to the children who have passed. So this year we did review 19 child fatalities, 7 birth defects, 4 accidents, 2 illnesses, 1 sudden infant death syndrome, 2 homicides, 2 suicides, and 1 of unknown cause. And so what we would like to do over the next year is work on 2 priorities: education on the importance of prenatal care and genetic testing, and then 2, suicide awareness and education on warning signs of community members and parents. It's really important that these deaths that are preventable continue to go down, and that's the work that we seek out to continue doing. And so I'll spare the rest of this because you do have a copy, but you'll also see our activities for 2025 and our funding usage in your packet.
Thanks, Ashley. Anybody have any questions for Ashley before I'm?
No, sir.
Mr. Vice Chair, fellow commissioners, Madam Clerk, and the members of our community, I'd like to thank Dr. Jarrett and for all that she does and that all the members of our local child fatality prevention team do for the work in our community throughout every year. As difficult as these cases are to review, the purpose of this team is not simply to look backward. It's to learn from tragedy and identify ways we can improve and prevent future tragedies from occurring. Every number in this report represents a child. Every child represents a family whose life has been changed forever. Reality reminds us why this work is so important. I appreciate this team and how they focus on not only reviewing fatalities, but also on finding practical solutions. The recommendations regarding prenatal care, suicide awareness, and improving access to children's mental health services in our areas, that are areas where we can make a real difference in the lives of families across Burke County. I'm especially encouraged by the team's efforts to support community education, provide gun safes to families, and assist vulnerable children through safety programs. Those are proactive steps that can save lives before a crisis occurs. As a county commissioner and a member of this board, I want the public to know that we take these findings very seriously. Protecting children is not only the responsibility of any one agency, but it requires cooperation among parents, schools, healthcare providers, churches, community organizations, law enforcement, social services, and local government. I want to thank everyone who serves on this team for taking on this difficult but necessary work. While we cannot change the past, we can honor these children by doing everything possible to prevent future loss and strengthen the safety and well-being of the children in Burke County. And just as a personal note, this has been a really difficult board to serve on. We all serve on a lot of important work that we do in Burke County as leaders, but to hear some of these cases under child fatality, some of them are not preventable so much, but some of these, especially the homicide and suicide, are just gut-wrenching. And I will say that this team put together an amazing awareness evening. And just to be honest with you, I was pretty sad to see that we had very few people show up in the community. And we advertised it everywhere: social media, newspapers, sent it home to the schools, to the parents through the school system. And so I'm not sure what else to do to try to get people involved, but obviously it needs our attention. So thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the work you do. We all appreciate you on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. And does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Barrier or Dr. Jarrett? Okay, if no questions, then this item will remain on the consent agenda. Or Let's see, now we'll hear from our Register of Deeds, Stephanie Norman, about approval of the Register of Deeds updated records and retention schedule.
Good afternoon. The North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources requires the County Board of Commissioners to approve and sign the local records retention schedule for the Register of Deeds office along with the Register of Deeds. You're required to sign, record it in the official minutes, and the signed copy has to be returned to the North Carolina State Archives. This falls under North Carolina General Statute 121-2 under the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources and 132 under Public Records Law. So they've updated the Register of Deeds retention schedule. We have to follow the local government retention schedule as well as the Register of Deeds retention schedule because almost all of our records in our office are permanent, which is very unusual because most offices, they have a combination of both, but not all of them, or the majority of them are permanent records like ours are. So normally they've had a separate one, but for it to have a smoother flow, if you will. What they did is the local government retention schedule has standards 1 through 9, and they just added standards 1 through 5 on the end of that, so that there's 15 standards that includes both the local government retention schedule and the Register of Deeds retention schedule. Most of the content did not change. It was mostly formatting, like I just mentioned, adding standards. But there were a couple things under the disposition instructions that were updated. It removes document return requirements for notary public records. It consolidates types of record requests and standardizes disposal times for application of certified copies. It adds clarification about retention of forms by an authorized agent or representatives for armed forces discharges. And it also discontinues records updates for juror lists and records, land sold for taxes and index, merchant returns and index, and records of strays. Now, we've not had kept any of those records in a long time, but they never updated it in the retention schedule, but that has been updated now. But they did add a additional section, which is under miscellaneous records specifically for the Register of Deeds, because the Register of Deeds asked for it and they included it for us. And that's notice of errors because there are errors that are made when indexing. And if you know about our office, you can't find any records in our office without the indexes. And that's the whole purpose of the indexes, for you to be able to find something for our office. And we have a procedure to add those errors onto record, but this provided additional information and clarification for our offices. And then it also updated the transfer eligibility, and it specifies that records can be transferred to the state archives if more than 30 years old or have severe preservation concerns. So those were basically the updates to the Register of Deeds retention schedule. You have any questions?
Okay, nobody has any questions, we'll go ahead and put this on the consent agenda. We appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
Ms. Norman.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I would like to just make a comment. I'm very grateful for Ms. Norman's always being on top of everything. It just seems like everything runs like a sewing machine over there, and I'm grateful for that.
Okay, we'll now move to items for decision. And you can be very brief on these also. We'll first hear from our clerk about the amendment of VSB bylaws and appointments.
All right, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, on April 20th, 2026, at the regular meeting, the Burke County Commissioners adopted resolution number 2026-06, formally establishing the Burke County Veterans Service Board and approving the associated bylaws. Commissioner Smith subsequently expressed interest in serving on the board and recognized the benefit of a designated commissioner seat to enhance communication between the Veterans Service Board and the Board of Commissioners. This is a request to amend the current bylaws from 6 seats to 7 seats to create a position for the chairman of Burke County Commissioners or their designee. The proposed amendment will be reviewed by the county attorney and then presented for consideration by June 15th. Any questions?
Seeing no questions, we'll leave this on the agenda, and thank you, ma'am. And now we'll hear from you again, the clerk, appointment to the Western Piedmont Community College Board of Trustees.
Okay. Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, Mr. Rod Harrelson has a term expiring on June 30, 2026. Mr. Harrelson did not reapply for the Western Piedmont Community College Board of Trustees. We've currently received 6 applications for this position, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to publicly thank Rod Harrelson for his service and his dedication to the Board of Trustees at Western Piedmont Community College. I've had an opportunity to work with him on several things over the years, and he's top notch. And I just want to thank him for his service.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Without objection, this will remain on the agenda. The county manager will now talk to us about the year-end budget amendment and capital project closeout. Placeholder, Mr. Epley.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. As typical at your June meeting, we have one final budget amendment at the end of the year, as we prepare our fiscal year ends June 30th. So the second meeting in June typically is our last opportunity to make any modifications needed for the budget ahead of the fiscal year closeout and preparing for the audit process. Those numbers are still moving as of today, but we'll have those prepared and get those circulated to you well ahead of your June 15th meeting, and present those for consideration at that time.
Does anybody have any questions for the county manager? Seeing no questions, then we'll move on. This item will remain on the agenda. We'll next hear from Mark Delahunt, General Services, Foothills Higher Education Center HVAC replacement and approval of budget amendment number 33.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board. This project is to replace 3 rooftop units and 33 air handlers located throughout the Foothills Higher Education Center building. The units being replaced are all over 22 years old and were part of the original equipment from the remodel job that was done at that time. Bid documents were prepared with assistance from Britton Engineering and were advertised on May 13th. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held on May 21st with 4 companies attending. This bid opportunity actually closed at noon today, and we should be prepared with a recommendation at your next meeting. The Foothills Higher Education Center, as you are aware, is a large building, over 120,000 square feet. The building has 41 rooftop units of various sizes. A number of the larger units, about 14 ranging in sizes from 3 ton up to 25 tons, were recently replaced using COVID funds. And this is a list of all those 41 units. The highlighted yellow ones are, of course, the ones that were replaced not long ago. And the green ones at the bottom are the ones that will be replaced as part of this project. This is the impacted area, and it's includes Parks and Recreation's office, a number of classrooms of Western Piedmont, and some administrative college offices as well. As I said, we'll be prepared with a recommendation at your next meeting, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this item.
Any questions for Mark? Go ahead.
It's kind of relevant, but not. The new refrigerant that's out, it requires different recovery systems, and there's some fire prevention issues. Are we good on that equipment?
This was handled by the engineer, and I'm sure it's being brought up to current code.
Okay. So we're not doing it. We're contracting it.
Yes, we're contracting this project out, and even the specs were done by Britton Engineering, who actually was the original designer or mechanical engineer for that building when it was remodeled back in the day. So stuff they put in then lasted a pretty good while. So,
Mr. Vice Chairman, if I may, I would point out that this will not require any additional appropriation by this board. This project, although these units have failed and it's expedited the need for replacement, it has been something that's been considered as part of our capital reserve and deferred maintenance plan. So we'll just be acting a bit sooner than we otherwise would have to try to get that through the summer months.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. And we have Miss Nelson on the docket next. I don't see her in there anywhere, but she is going to give us a report on the tax collection report and final settlement report for period ending May 31st, 2026. We will hold her over, and without any objection, we'll leave this on the agenda. Okay, and then number 6, also Ms. Nelson, tax release and refund report for period ending May the 31st, 2026.
And I may just add at that time, her final closeout, she likely will present, but, by our next meeting, at the conclusion of this meeting, hopefully, our new tax administrator, Mr. Isaac, will be sworn in and be able to deliver those reports to the board if that's agreeable by the board.
Okay, we'll now move on to our reports and comments. Please submit your reports to the clerk as soon as possible for inclusion in the agenda packet for regular meeting. June the 9th and 10th will be the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners County Advocacy Days in Raleigh, North Carolina. June the 15th will be our Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting at 6 p.m. Any youth groups that want to lead the Pledge of Allegiance at the start of our meetings can sign up via the form on the county's website. Any religious officials interested in delivering the invocation at our meetings are encouraged to sign up with our clerk. Please cover your loads when you're traveling to the convenience centers and the landfill to keep our highways looking good. Please don't litter and pick up your trash. Use the community beautification tab on our website, www.burkenc.org, to report littered areas. And number 8, we have no other discussion items, so we'll move on to number 9, to our action items. Department of Social Services, our departmental update for the period ending April the 30th, 2026, presented by our Director, Corey Fisher-Wellman.
Good afternoon to each of you. We'll go through our monthly updates here. In terms of personnel, we have 11, at the time that this presentation was put together, we had 11 full-time vacancies, which is about a 5.5% vacancy rate. So it's remained fairly consistent for the last several months, which is a really good thing. And in the month of April, we did have 6 separations and then 7 new hires, 6 of which were full-time. In terms of our operational updates, we go over this every month. I'm going to give you some more information about the MOU at the end of the presentation, but this is just our economic service MOU metrics and just continue to demonstrate that we're, despite a lot of changes in economic services, both Medicaid and food and nutrition, our staff continue to meet all their MOU outcomes month by month. So as always, this thing is really important to point out. In terms of Medicaid, you can see here there's 28,246 people currently receiving Medicaid in Burke County, and we did go down about 80 applications during the month of April, and we took in 413 new applications during the month. In terms of food and nutrition, there are 9,805 active recipients in Burke County, and we did 500 new applications during the month of April. In terms of social work, starting out with our adult services, we talked last month about the continued rise in our guardianship cases. We had 13 new referrals for guardianship in the month of April, so our total awards that we're responsible for is 75, and then an additional 17 that we contract out to a third-party provider. You can see there we had continued to have 59 special assistance cases and 131 CAP cases that our staff are currently working with, and we received 35 APS reports during the month of April. CPS reports continue to go down. This is the time of the year where the reports typically go down. They'll continue to go down through the summer, mainly because school officials are the most frequent reporters of abuse and neglect. So we always see the numbers go down throughout the summer, and then when kids get back into school in August and September, you'll see the reports go way up there, just like they did in August and September of this past year. In terms of our CPS caseload, I think this is some really good news. You can see there that our we currently have 157 open CPS cases, which is a 48% reduction in cases during the calendar year of 2026. So our staff have worked really hard to reduce our number of CPS cases, to work through those cases, to either to close them or oftentimes does lead to court involvement, which can lead to kids entering foster care. And then in terms of foster care, at the time that this presentation was created, we had 214 young people experiencing foster care, including 14 new entries during this period, which, you know, that's a lot of placements you're needing to find. And we have had not a new entry, we have had a young man who's unfortunately had to live with us at DSS for the entire month of May. So placements continue to be a little bit of a struggle. These are behaviorally based placements. They're not family foster homes, but those continue to be an issue. You can see there we had 3 exits from foster care during the month. April was Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I think this is just a good opportunity to point out that we have a really strong multidisciplinary team here in Burke County, including law enforcement, the CAC, and the DA's office, along with DSS staff who meet regularly to address child abuse cases, which are definitely our most complex and difficult cases. But we have a really strong team in Burke County that we wouldn't be able to do the work we do without all the different members. So this was just an opportunity to point out those folks. And then wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of the MOU. So the requirement for a MOU between counties and DHHS came out of, you might have heard of Ryland's Law, which is Session Law 207-41. There's a whole lot of components to Ryland's Law, one of which is an MOU between the county and the state that is for all programs throughout DSS, not just Child Welfare Economic Services, but everything within DSS except for Medicaid is involved in the MOU. And the purpose is just to establish some statewide accountability and performance metrics focusing on timeliness, safety, permanency, and quality. So I'll go through the different areas just to sort of give you an overview of what those requirements are. So for adult protective services, 85% of abuse neglect evaluations must be completed within 30 days. And then 85% of exploitation evaluations must be completed within 45 days. Let me go back just 1 second. So the MOU, you have to meet these outcomes, and there's corrective actions established if you're not able to meet a certain number of these thresholds. And throughout, it's been several years since Burke County in particular has been held accountable to the measures. So during COVID, there was no MOU, and then Western counties have not been held accountable to the MOU standards since Hurricane Helene. But when we re-sign this MOU, the whole state will go back into having to meet all the measures that I'm going to point out here. So in terms of child support, which we do, a third party does handle child support for us, but as a county, we're still held responsible for their performance. So all these the paternity establishment rate, the support order establishment rate, the collections rate, and the average collections rate, it's important to us that Veritas meets all those. And as we've mentioned before, we have a very good relationship with our third party, and they continue to meet all these outcomes. In terms of child welfare, there's included in your packet is some more information about the MOU, and there's a number of child welfare metrics in that handout, but the only child welfare metric that counties are held accountable to for the MOU is monthly face-to-face contacts for children experiencing foster care. So 95% of children in care must have a face-to-face contact, and we've talked about that a lot when you have kids sort of placed all over the state and in the Southeast. Sometimes getting to see every single one of those kids every single month, that's very time-consuming to foster care staff. In terms of energy, 95% of emergency crisis intervention program applications with no heat or cooling source must be processed within 1 date of the application. And then 95% of those with a pass-through or final notice must be processed within 2 days, whichever is first. Food and nutrition, this is just about making sure that the applications are completed within the 7th day of the application, and then regular applications have to be processed by the 30th day. Research must be processed on time each month. Special assistance, 85% of special assistance for the age applications have to be processed within 45 days. And then 85% of the disabled applications must be processed within 60 days. Workforce, 95% of applications must be processed within 45 days of receipt. And then 95% of recertifications must be processed within 60 calendar days prior to the last day of their current certification period. So some of the key takeaways is this just creates sort of a statewide measurable standards that the counties can be held accountable to. Obviously it's heavily focused on timeliness and the impact to citizens. And then several of those things do have a direct impact to federal compliance, which impacts funding. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about our sort of general status or the MOU process.
Seeing no questions, do I have a motion to accept the report as presented?
Motion to accept as presented.
All in favor? Madam Chair, that's all four of us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll next hear again from Dr. Ashley Jarrett, Interim Health Director, concerning the quarterly report for the period ending March 31st, 2026.
Thank you for having me again. I do have supplemental information in your packet other than this PowerPoint here, so this is meant to be very brief and high level. So starting off, we did have leadership change as of April 1st. That is where our last health director, Dana Scalise, departed us, and you allowed me to step in as interim health director, which I appreciate and thank you. Then after that, we hosted the National Public Health Week, where we celebrated our staff with some new swag to represent Burke County Public Health and feel engaged in the community again. And then we also ended it with a picnic that we held out at the pavilion, just to have food, celebration, and group together and bond, because half of our staff is remote or they're over here in environmental health. So this is the one time we tend to get together and have a good time. We also did some groundwork with our CHIP. We submitted it and it was approved. We also received our approval of our 2026 FAB annual report, which is important for keeping that national accreditation. We received an approval letter for our 2025 CHA health assessment, which you guys have seen. We held our staff training on May 8th and we'll hold another one. Training and education for our staff is very, very important to us. It's also, again, another opportunity for us to get together and celebrate with each other. Environmental health, food and lodging is sitting at 95.5% completion rates at the time of this being put together. So our goal is 100. We are going to make that by the end of this fiscal year. We are welcoming a new provider, Claudia Ramirez. She has already started. She has spent, I believe this is her 3rd week with us, and she has been doing wonderful. She does speak Spanish, so that is a benefit for our community to have a provider who is bilingual. You just heard from me on the local review team, our annual report, and preparedness. Todd Staton, if you haven't met him, he is our preparedness coordinator, and he has submitted all 13 emergency preparedness plans to the state. That is 6 additional plans this year than we had before. We also celebrated Nurses Appreciation Week, and again, Todd was honored with the 2026 Emergency Preparedness Response Community Engagement Award, which just shows that we really take pride in engaging the community in our processes. So they were part of some of the planning and getting their feedback and incorporating it into some of the plans that we have. And that was what he was awarded with. And again, this is just a high-level presentation. More information on clinical data, environmental health, and WIC is in your packet. Happy to answer any questions.
Seeing no questions, then I'll entertain a motion to accept the report as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the report as presented.
All in favor? Madam Clerk, that's all four of us. We will now move on to our item number 3 there, appointment of our new tax administrator, which will be presented by me and Brian Epley. The county manager will take Ms. Nelson's place in her absence.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will welcome up Travis Isaac. He's competed for him and onboarded with us a couple of weeks ago as our new tax administrator. I I would point out, at the time of recruitment, there were only about 112 certified through the North Carolina Department of Revenue folks to meet that job statewide. And Travis took that exam and passed it in his first attempt the week before he started. So we are thrilled to have him on board. It's a really big accomplishment, and he's a great fit for our team. Super excited about that. I would point out that Ms. Nelson is unable to be here today, so her final settlement report will be presented at your 15th meeting, and we'll backdate that back to today for the numbers. And all of that is compliant with appropriate process and statute. So for today, I'd just like Travis to introduce himself, and then I'll ask the board to consider a resolution that officially makes him the full-time permanent tax administrator, and then our clerk to administer the oath of office. I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Go ahead, sir. Give us an
Vice
introduction.
Chairman, board members, Madam Clerk. Really glad to be here. As you said, it's Travis Isaacs. I'm actually from Boone, North Carolina. Lived there about 40 years, and I worked for Watauga County Tax Office for almost 12. And then I moved on to Raleigh and worked for the local government division of North Carolina Department of Revenue for the past 14 and a half years. So I'm hoping the wealth of knowledge and experience I brought will add to this county and the citizens. I'm just anxious to serve them and looking forward to it.
Okay.
And I will say, I do have a great staff. Everybody's been welcome at this whole county. And it's been really a nice atmosphere to walk into. So between y'all, upper management, everybody involved. So I just want them to know that.
I think all of us up here are glad to have you on board. And I will now entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2026-16, appointing Travis Isaacs, tax administrator, tax collector, assessor, effective June 1st, 2026 at 8 a.m. and approve the required bond. Do I have
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
all in favor? That's all four of us, ma'am. And if you would now please administer the oath of office to Mr. Isaacs.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Just want to say welcome home.
You ready? Sure. Okay. I, Travis Isaacs,
I, Travis Isaacs,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are
which are
or may be established
or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain,
maintain,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of said state,
and the laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution
not inconsistent with the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as tax administrator,
of my office as tax administrator,
tax collector, and assessor
tax collector, and assessor
for Burke County,
for Burke County.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Further,
Further,
in accordance with the NCGS
in accordance with the NCGS
105-295
105-295,
and 105-349,
105-349,
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will well and truly assess
that I will well and truly assess
all property
all property
subject to taxation according to law,
subject to taxation according to law,
that I will collect all taxes,
that I will collect all taxes,
licenses,
Li-
fees, let's go,
license and fees,
and other revenues
and other revenues
committed to my charge
committed to my charge
for collection according to the law,
for collection according to the law,
that I will not allow
that I will not allow
my actions as tax collector
my actions as tax collector
to be influenced
to be influenced
by personal or political friendships or obligations,
by personal, political, friendships, or obligations,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties
perform all duties
required of me as tax collector,
required of me as tax collector,
tax administrator,
tax administrator,
and assessor
and assessor
for Burke County,
for Burke County,
according to the laws of the state of North Carolina, so help me God.
according to the laws of the state of North Carolina, so help me God.
Amen.
Thank you all.
There's a few more, but we can do this. And this is your full name.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Isaacs, we'd all like to come down and have our photo made with you. You might need a scarecrow for your garden this summer.
I'm voting for you for chairman right now.
Yeah.
Finished at 10-4.
Okay, and I deviated from the agenda just a bit here. I did it on purpose, not because I'm a rookie or anything. But, does anybody like to have any comments, make any comments to our folks here today, the attorney? Commissioner Stroud,
I'm good today, thank you.
Mr. Burns?
Look forward to spending some time with our advocacy folks in Raleigh the 9th and 10th, I believe. I was down there 2 weeks ago for the Council of Governments Advocacy Days, and we had a great time. I feel like we've made a lot of progress and had a lot of good conversation.
That's good.
No, for me, sir.
I have nothing either. Mr. Barrier, Madam Clerk, do I have a motion we adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All right, Madam Clerk, that's 4-0. Thanks, everybody, for coming.